Don't fucking do it.
So as you see from that clip, you definitely see that the Dallas Cowboys are very frustrated, not just with the loss to the 49ers, but just this season in general. It definitely hasn't been the best for them, so there are definitely some changes that need to be made. And let's go through some of the changes that the Dallas Cowboys have been thinking of doing and some big trades that may be in the works. The first story is that the Dallas Cowboys could be making an interesting trade option where they actually get themselves Nick Chubb in a new proposal. Now, the Cleveland Browns could not have been more excited to welcome star running back Nick Chubb back to the field in week 7. He ended up carrying the football 11 times for 22 yards and a touchdown, while also catching a pass for 10 yards. It wasn't the biggest game, but seeing him score a touchdown was a special moment for both Chubb and the fans. While having Chubb is nice, the Browns are just 1-6 on the season and are headed quickly towards a top pick in the 2025 NFL draft. A ton of trade rumors are also swirling around the team. Even Myles Garrett has been mentioned in potential trade rumors. Now, Chubb has been mentioned in a new trade idea as well. Seeing this star nearly running back get traded after just making his return from a gruesome is nearly impossible to fathom, but nothing is ever impossible in the business that is NFL. Mike Jones and Jeff Ho of The Athletic took a look of a few deals that could make sense ahead of the NFL trade deadline on November 5th. One of the ideas would send Chubb to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for a 2025 third round pick and a 2025 sixth round pick. Obviously, the trade would not make the fans very happy. Here is a brief excerpt of what Howe had to say about the potential trade. Now, whether or not the Browns are prepared to admit it, they need to give a serious consideration to drafting a QB, and an extra third rounder could aid that endeavor. If Chubb were to be made available, the Cowboys would absolutely be a logical landing spot. Jerry Jones is always looking to make a big move if it makes sense. Dallas needs a running back. Putting those things together make the Cowboys a logical destination. However, it's still very unlikely that Cleveland would trade Chubb at this point. Clearly, this is all speculation and just looking at things that could make sense. With the Browns struggling and being far from being a contender, quite a few players could on the move. Chubb could be available for the right price, but he's one of the most unlikely players to be moved on the roster. All of that being said, the NFL trade deadline can't get there here or soon enough. On top of this, there are other trade options as the Dallas Cowboys are 3-4 in the season and currently are in third place in the NFC East behind the Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Dallas has a lot of talent, but it hasn't translated to as many wins as the team expected so far this season. The Cowboys shouldn't be counted out on just yet. There is plenty of time left in the season and the Cowboys have the talent needed to turn things around. With the trade deadline quickly approaching on November 5 though, the roster will be looked at with a microscope. Will the Cowboys add ahead of the deadline, or could the Cowboys trade a player or two away, and would the Cowboys consider some variation in which they buy and sell at the same time? There is just a week to go until the deadline and it will be interesting. It's unclear what the Dallas Cowboys will do, but receiver Brandon Cooks was called an interesting trade candidate for FanSided's Cody Williams. Now, particularly after watching 3+ quarters of the 49ers just wearing down the Cowboys, there needs to be a definitive direction in Dallas, Williams said. And frankly, I don't see how one could look at the results and think that direction should be anything but soft telling. Jerry Jones might think differently, but the best course of action would be to look at Trey Lance trade market. Brandon Cooks is also another interesting name, and to be sure, but Lance's youth and upside still might make him more attractive to teams like the Raiders or Titans fishing for long-term quarterback answers. Plus, it could help make up draft capital as well for the seamless trade to acquire in the first place. Cooks is in the final year of a 2-year, $39 million deal and currently is injured, so keep an eye out on him over the next week. All right, with week 9 almost here, I definitely got to put some bets in for week 9, and we got Tennessee Titans beating the New England Patriots. Now, I love doing this on BetUS. Now, if you haven't heard of BetUS before, right now they do have a promo, 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So we're going to be putting $100 on the Tennessee Titans. The potential win out is $86.96. So we're going to just confirm it just like that, and just like that, we are pretty much good to go. So very easy to do. They have the fastest payouts in the industry, so definitely go check out BetUS. Like I mentioned before, guys, 150% bonus on your first deposit, and then 125% bonus on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. So definitely go check them out, guys. And when it comes to BetUS, definitely go check them out. The second story is that CD Lamb comments on Dallas Cowboys' sickening loss to the 49ers. Now, the Dallas Cowboys had high hopes coming out of week 7 bye week, but the team was unable to exercise the demons of their past and once again fell to the San Francisco 49ers. Dallas entered the half with a 10-6 lead, but the team completely fell apart in the third quarter, getting outscored 21-0. Now, the Cowboys charged back in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late, and the offense sputtered with 4 straight incompletions in their final effort to earn a comeback win. After the game, frustrations were clear. Star cornerback Trayvon Diggs emerged from the locker room and confronted a local reporter for a tweet that was sent during the game. The tweet questioned Diggs' effort, and he was not pleased. Cowboys star wide receiver CD Lamb, who had an astounding 13-catch, 2-touchdown game with 146 yards, echoed the frustrations with his brief comment. "Pretty bad. It really sucks," Lamb said, about how much the Cowboys wanted to end their losing streak to the 49ers, especially coming here 3 times the last 3 years, and we've lost to them. It's absolutely sickening, and I can't handle it. The team's 7 other pass catchers combined for 12 yards and 97 yards. On the ground, the rushing attack again spotted with just 56 yards and 1 touchdown on 19 carries for an average of 2.9 yards per carry. If the Cowboys are going to turn things around, someone is going to need to step up outside of the Lamb and Dak Prescott, and will need to cut back on turnovers and prove he was worth $60 million per year. Up next for Dallas is Week 9 showdown against the 5-3 Atlanta Falcons on the road. Now, on top of this, Dallas Cowboys actually have announced a suspension for 3 games dating back to the 49ers game, which is defensive end Sam Williams. Now, not even 24 hours removed from their latest loss, the Dallas Cowboys announced some more challenging news for their roster, as it was revealed on Monday that defensive end Sam Williams is actually suspended for 3 games dating back to before the San Francisco 49ers game, and apparently the issue is related before the start of last season, as in 2023 season. You will recall that Williams was arrested in August of 2023 on substance and weapon charges, and it appears that all of these connected to the suspension and violation of personal conduct policy for the NFL. Williams tore his ACL at the beginning of training camp this season and is therefore unable to Cowboys actually play him, but is serving out his suspension nonetheless. As a 3-game suspension dates back to before the 49ers game, he must miss the contest against the Atlanta Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles before being eligible for reinstatement. So it hasn't been looking very, very well for the Dallas Cowboys as of recent. They definitely are in a little bit of a pickle when it comes to actually what is going on with the Dallas Cowboys and where they are looking moving forward. But when it comes to that even further, there's also other people that had similar thoughts as well, as NFL Insider reveals that the Dallas Cowboys trade deadline plans and their upcoming roster. Now, supposedly, the Dallas Cowboys have no trade deadline plans and could start just using Dalvin Cook. So everyone wants to know what the Dallas Cowboys trade plans are, and although the Cowboys didn't play a game this past week due to having a bye, head coach Mike McCarthy reportedly emphasized strengthening their rush attack in practice as Dallas entered the Week 8. So this is what was said before, but now that Week 8 is finally here and they did actually end up losing quite a lot, it does look like Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott have been handling the backfield duties for the Cowboys through the first 6 games of the season, and yet Dalvin Cook has long been waiting for an opportunity to actually play. I think now, especially with the way or the current situation that they are in as a season, I definitely think now is a perfect time to start moving in that right direction and finally be able to have Dalvin Cook play.